Hello, you guys, and welcome to today's episode of Single Mom Thriving. I am up, inspired. It is early in the morning. If you're watching this on YouTube, I am no makeup, threw on a sweatshirt, just made a cup of coffee. Um, Obviously, my child is at dad's. I have a little bit of time this morning before I actually have, and this is something I committed to a long time ago. Um, I get monthly 90-minute massages and I pre-book them so they are always there. I can't be like, oh, I'm too busy, I don't have time. We've talked about self-care a little bit in previous episodes. So I have my massage in a little bit before I pick up my daughter from school, from preschool today. So I was like, let me sit down, do a quick episode. Also, have a really exciting trip this weekend going on. So I wanted to get something locked in to have ready so that I'm not stressed about it next week with a trip. My boyfriend and I are going to Boston, Salem, Mystic, Connecticut, and possibly Cape Cod, which before I dive into this episode, I just want to tell you guys I have wanted to go to Salem and specifically Mystic in Connecticut for years, and I never got to go, and I told him I wanted to go, and he said, okay, let's go. And I was like, this is the kind of man I need in my life. If you're wondering why Mystic, Connecticut is such a random place, if you love 80s movies, Julia Roberts, Mystic Pizza, I am here. I love an 80s movie. I am such an 80s addict. I love 80s music. I have always wanted to go to Mystic Pizza, which is a movie when she was like super young. It's a pizzeria her and her sisters work at, and it's still there. You can go. It's decorated with stuff from the movie, and I have wanted to go for years, and this man is taking me, and I'm so excited. Oh my God, I can't wait. So anyways, I will be leaving for that this weekend. I will probably do a little episode about mom guilt soon because I'm already feeling a little bit of it for leaving her, even though the majority of it is during her dad's time, and I scheduled it that way intentionally so that I wouldn't actually lose a lot of time with her. That's how I normally try to line up trips and stuff. But I'm very excited. But I wanted to get this episode filmed before, so I had something to go up in the next few weeks, just in the chaos of traveling and packing and having my daughter all around that time and not being able to sit down and do this. So today's episode, what we're going to be diving into is that I was not always thriving. I wanted to do this episode pretty early on because I, like a lot of people, have been someone in the past that has subscribed to toxic positivity. And if you don't know what that is, it is this kind of like, you can be positive no matter what's going on. It doesn't matter what's happening. You can just be happy. Like, it's this very toxic, like, no matter what's going on, you should be able to be happy and be okay and be fine. Which, like, to an extent, sure. I definitely subscribed to this in the past. If you guys are people that have been in the personal development space for a minute, you might remember someone that got kind of canceled for this. Rachel Hollis, who I loved, honestly, loved her books. I read all of them. I went to her women's events. They're kind of what inspired me to start my own women's events. I even went to her and her husband, her late husband, who's now passed, had a business conference in Charleston, which honestly was such a great experience. They brought in such knowledgeable people, like Ed Milet, like, I mean, huge names in the business and self-help space. And I honestly feel like I learned more at that conference than I learned in like going to college classes. Like, it's insane. So I was always a very big Rachel Hollis fan. I loved her husband as well, who tragically passed away not too long ago. They had separated. Obviously, her career kind of like changed gears because they were the driving force. But anyways, regardless, I'm kind of squirrel braining and going off on a tangent. But she was pretty canceled for a few things, but one of them was people saying that she was advertising this like toxic positivity, that like no matter what's happening, you should be able to be happy. And people were like, no, you need to feel your fucking feelings sometimes, and sometimes things suck. Which is why I wanted to do this episode early on, because I don't want people to think that I am going on a path of toxic positivity. Like, being a single mom is all about thriving, and we should all be able to thrive all the time. Like, I don't want to push that narrative because I will be the first one to tell you that it is not always easy and it is difficult at times. And there's a lot of things you have to deal with and learn to navigate and grow and mature through, that it's not always thriving. I will be the first person to say that. So that's why I wanted to do that now. I wanted to set that pretense for this episode that, like, I don't want anyone to ever come listen to me and be like, oh, well, everything's just going great for her. Oh, well, she has her own business. Oh, well, she's blah, 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 blah. Well, she has her family that helps. I don't want people to ever look at me and think, like, well, she's just positive all the time about it. It's just been easy for her, because in reality, it's not. And so I wanted to use this episode as kind of like a reality check in a way, that I was not always thriving. I'm still not always thriving. Like, moms that feel like they're drowning, there are times I feel the exact same way. There are times I have those breakdowns, those like, oh my God, what am I doing? Am I doing this right? Am I screwing her up? And like, how messed up is my kid gonna be because of the choices in my past? Like, there's so many things that come into play here. And so I wanted to give you guys a real reality check that, like, I was not always thriving as a single mom, as a mom, and as a individual in general. You know, a lot of people will come to me with things like, oh my God, like, I had someone that I knew from high school come in to get her daughter's hair done for a school dance recently. I don't know if she listens or not, but she was like, oh my God, do you ever just stand here at the beauty bar and think like, wow, I really did this and I really like made it. And I looked at her and I said, girl, there's days I'm still like, am I doing this right? Like, is this gonna last? Is this gonna work? Like, I laughed about it because I think a lot of people just see highlight reel moments. They see the accomplishments, the things we share on social media that we're proud of in parenting and in life. And they forget that, no, there's also times that it's not like that. And I have always tried to be someone that shares all of it. Anyone that knows me knows, like, I've cried on social media. I have shared my mental breakdowns on social media, through sobriety, through my divorce, through everything. Rough times at my business. Like, people have seen me cry on the internet, crash out a few times. 100%. 100%. Is it a little embarrassing? I mean, it's not my best moments, but at the same time, I think it's real and it's human. And I need people to see that side of me as well, and not just think everything's sunshine and rainbows all the time. So, I mean, I guess let's start from the beginning. I was not always thriving, you guys. Anyone that's followed me for a long amount of time knows I personally struggled with drugs and alcohol in my teen years and my 20s. I got sober in 2015, so I'm 10 years sober now. But I mean, that ultimately stemmed from me drinking and overdosing on pills and ending up in the emergency room. Like, sometimes I think people forget that about me because it's been so long in my sobriety, but like, reality check, like, she had issues. She had big issues. I've been in therapy for years. I have been in numerous toxic relationships. Anyone that has seen my dating history knows, people close to me know the things I have been through personally. I have never publicly shared the details of my divorce, and I will never do that. I made that promise to myself and for my daughter, but all I got to say on that one is I trust in karma and I trust in God, and I don't have to deliver that karma, because one day, oh boy, I don't even want to think about the karma coming for certain people. I'll pray for them. Let's put it that way. But I have never shared those things publicly, but just know, like, I have been cheated on. And I'm not saying this. I'm going to disclaimer this because someone's going to send it to someone I know, and I'm going to get reamed out about it. I'm not saying these things about one specific person. I'm saying this as a grouping on all of my past relationships together. I have been cheated on. I have been deceived. I have been lied to. I have been made to look a fool. I have been talked about horribly behind my back. So many things and so many people. And it's hurtful and it's hard to trust and it's hard to navigate being a parent because of the feelings that are attached to a lot of those things, and to co-parent. I will say that much. But like I said, That is just a general, all my relationships. I'm not pinpointing anything on anyone specific because I said I would never do that because she is a classy queen. Or at least I like to think that. But I mean, mentally going into being a single parent, like, I don't trust people. I think everyone's going to screw me over. I think everyone's going to leave. If we want to talk about dating, that'll be a whole episode. But like trust issues, damage, like I have not always been thriving, you guys. I I feel like those were my biggest like contributing things that have contributed to my mental health and some of my struggles. But I do want to kind of veer this more into just being a parent or being a single mom and how I haven't always been thriving in it. I want to reality check people that, I don't have it all on lock all the time. I'm doing a pretty good job of it, but there are moments that it's not. There have been times where I have felt like I didn't even know how to be a parent because of things going on as far as like my mental health. I had a really hard time in the beginning feeling like a mom and being present and being a mother for a multitude of reasons. I know a lot of it was heartbreak and having to heal and navigating a very difficult time in my life through my divorce, while trying to also be a parent for the first time. I unfortunately have shared this. I've shared it in my most recent book, an audiobook. It wasn't supposed to be like this, but there are times that I look back on my time being a mother and the time my daughter was a toddler, and everything feels a little bit tainted. Everything feels a little bit like I don't remember it. Like everything had kind of like a cast, like I was just in survival mode because we moved into a condo that we started renting when she was a year and a half. She was very young. She wasn't even like talking yet, and I think that I was in such survival mode of like, let's get out, get a place, just get to the next step. Just keep moving, just keep going, just keep going. Like that's what I tend to do when I have difficult feelings. I just like stay busy. So there were times that I feel like I had such a just survival mindset of like, what's next? What do I have to do? What do I have to do for her? I need to give her a life, a home, a place, that I struggled a lot to feel present with her in the beginning. I did. And it makes me sad to say that, but like, it felt so in between to me at times that I was like, it was like, whose time was it? And when does that time end? And when does the time start again for me? And when does she leave again? Like that was how I was looking at things for a long time because it was so different. It was so foreign. And honestly, I fucking hated it so much. It was like, I just want her here all the time. I was calling on nights she wasn't with me, crying, asking if she could just come home. And I know single parents can relate to that feeling. And some people are like, oh, but you get a break. Like, nah, you didn't want it. You didn't sign up to have kids to have them half the time. Or, whatever your parenting situation is. But like, yeah, no, I struggled a lot in the beginning. And I struggled with like, am I doing a good enough job? Am I going to be able to do this all on my own? Like it was, this is getting deep, but it was very overwhelming in the beginning. And I do hold on to a bit of resentment. I will say that my time with what very well might be my only child was so tainted in the beginning, and that was like my one and only go at it. I do think about that a lot. I think a lot about that this might be my one chance that I was like gonna have a baby and a toddler and get to experience all those things as a first time mom, and so much of it was clouded or had like a gray cast over things because I was just trying to make it and I was just trying to get through it. And that sucks. It does. I had a client actually ask me not too long ago, and I had never thought of it this way, but when she said it, I was like, wow, like you are right. She said, does it ever make you angry that like someone took away your ability to have more children? or like have more experiences as a mom. And at first I was like, what do you mean? Like, and she's like, like you've been single for, 2 years now, 2.5 years since your separation started. And she was like, it's not like you're just gonna like meet someone and have a baby. Like it happens, sure, but like I try to be more like intentional and responsible about those things. Like I'm not someone that would just be like, whoops, I got pregnant. Like anyone that knows me knows that. And she was like, like I'm 36. By the time I would meet someone, trust someone, and get to a point where I would consider having a child with someone, I'm going to be to an age that I probably won't want to do it anymore. And I mean, like, never say never, who knows? But really, in reality, that's probably what's going to happen. And she was like, does it make you angry that, like, someone basically took away your chance to have more children? And I was like, damn. I never thought of it that way. I never looked at it that way. I never thought about it that way. And I was like, you're kind of right. Like, damn. Like, cue the resentment again. Like, it's wild. There were times, and I hate saying this but I want to say it because I know there's a parent out there feeling the same way, and it's not wrong. It's human. It's normal. There was a time period where I was resentful that my child was keeping me tied to certain things and situations and people. And it was like, I wish it could just, again, this is so toxic and it's not something you would ever want to think, but like, I wish I could just take her and it could just be the two of us. I know single parents have thought that. And it's not okay. I'm saying that right now. It's not okay. It's not healthy. They need both of their parents 1,000%. And I'm not saying I would ever not want her to have her dad. Her dad is very involved in her life, and I'm grateful for that because I know it could be so much worse. And I always tell people that as much anger as I hold, I am grateful for the father she has because I know people with much worse situations, and she's lucky to have him. I want to put that disclaimer in, but I don't even remember where I was going with that because now I'm getting all fired up. But like, yeah, it's just hard, you guys. It's hard. I have felt that way. I have said those things. I have felt those things. And you feel so wrong for feeling those things. Like, I'm resentful that it feels wrong, but also know that you're human. And to feel those things you're not a bad person, okay? Like, you're not a bad person. My therapist has told me that, and I'm going to tell you that. You're not a bad person for feeling those things because of what you have personally gone through in situations. It's totally human. To stay on the topic of I've not always been thriving, I think a lot of people like to think because you own a business or you were able to buy a house that you may be thriving financially as a single parent. Like, oh, she's getting child support. Oh, she's getting help. Blah, 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 blah. And I just want to like reality check it for people. The system sucks. The system sucks. Okay? I have been through court. I have tried to get things changed or modified or adjusted. They really don't care about a lot of things unless your child is in danger, which, rightfully so, they need to be concerned about those things. But there's a lot of things that do a certain disservice to single parents, and not only moms. I'm not going to say that, dads too. It does a disservice to single parents when you raise valid concerns and they get overlooked or request certain things be changed or looked at again, and it's just like a waste of your time and money. Ultimately, I have experienced that. I have wasted thousands in court, and I'm not happy about it, but if it's what I had to do, it's what I had to do, and if I invested that money in trying to better my daughter's life, then I don't think it's money lost at all, but it's frustrating. Yeah. There is, and a lot of single parents can probably relate to this. It's not fair. It's not fair. A lot of us aren't getting what we should be getting. It's not being enforced to get what we should be getting. I have gone into my financial situation as I always make sure that I can hold it down on my own and we can survive on our own. And if we get help, it's a bonus. You know what I mean? If we get assistance, sure. If we don't get it, we're going to be fine. But that's how I've kind of had to go through it because that can be hard. It can be a struggle and it can be infuriating also. As far as running a business, I'm sorry, you guys, I just have to disclaimer here. Anyone that runs a business, no, you are not pocketing all that money. And anyone that thinks you are is out of their damn minds. I have a steady, comfortable income. It does not vary from month to month. I pay myself a set amount. So like if the business is doing good, if the business is doing bad, I'm always making the same amount. I'm not balling over here like during busy season. I pay myself a set amount because that's a responsible thing as a business owner. And maybe if there's a little extra at the end of the year, you pull out a little bonus for yourself. But like we're not just like Cash Money Records taking over the 2000s. Like we're not doing that. As far as buying my home, I have had a lot of people ask how I was able to afford that as a single parent. I've had a lot of people comment on the TikToks or the reels I've made about buying my house, like, oh, this is a dream for me. This is my goal. Like, how did you do that? Like, and I'm going to be completely transparent with you guys. I knew this was a goal of mine years ago. I tend to be fairly responsible and good with money in general. So I got a small amount of money in my divorce that I put in a high yield savings account and did not touch for 2.5 years. That money sat because I knew buying a home, having to put money into a home was what I was going to be using it for. And I didn't pull that money out. I left it there. I have money sitting in high yield savings that was just for the intention of our future. My tax returns, I would put away in my high yield savings, not touch them. I would maybe use a little to pay down some debt that I had, but the majority of it I would put away. So when it came time, I just basically started saving like a psycho. My lifestyle changed drastically when I got divorced and became a single mom. I couldn't spend as much or as freely as I used to. I couldn't travel as much as I used to, which breaks my heart because you guys, if you know me, you know I love traveling. I haven't traveled anything outside of like my divorce trip that I took for myself. I really haven't traveled in the past 2.5 years except for Disney with my family and my daughter. But that was for the intention of stacking money because I knew I was going to need a down payment for a house. I knew I was going to need money to renovate a house because I wasn't in a position to buy anything turnkey. I couldn't afford to buy something that expensive. I had to buy something that maybe needed a little love or a little bit of upgrades or some time painting floors. Like I knew I was going to have to do stuff buying a home. But being smart and saving the way I did, I had my down payment. I had some money set aside to do painting, floors. I'm getting a fence soon, which it makes me want to throw up every time I think about how much that's costing me. But that's beyond the point. I needed to get some, small things done around here. Carpet in some of the rooms. Like I came in knowing I needed money for those things and I had that money set aside. So I didn't have to charge or take on a lot of debt for the house itself. I'm not saying zero. There are obviously things I needed to purchase, but I was able to keep it pretty low. And I'm going to tell you guys, if you are a single parent out there thinking like, I want to buy a home, just be smart with your money. Don't max out what you can afford. Don't go for the top of your price range of what they approve you for in a mortgage. Be smart because you don't want to be house poor. I will be honest, I am still reevaluating my budget. To go from renting a condo to buying a home, my rent versus my mortgage is $600 less a month. Like that's insane. So that's saving me a lot of money long term. Obviously, you have equity in the home, you own it, etc. But like it's going to be expensive, but don't max yourself out because like I am reevaluating my budget. I'm still figuring it out. I'm still like, what's my gas bill going to be every month? What's my water bill? Like I'm still getting all the things, but reevaluating so that I still have a little bit of extra money that I can buy us, extra little things and clothes. And, I have money to take her to do special things. Like I didn't max myself out where it's like, oh my God, I have a mortgage and I can't afford anything else. And I think that was a good tip for you guys, like about how I'm able to be feeling good in this situation, in this era of being a single mom and being able to afford everything and do well. But I did kind of want to do this episode just to give you guys a disclaimer. Like I still am not always thriving 100% of the time, mentally, emotionally, financially, feeling like I'm being a good mom. Like I have my moments. I have my mom guilt. I have my struggles. And I wanted to explain some of that in this episode. If there's things you guys would like me to speak on deeper in future episodes, please let me know, because I would love to share more about this specifically if there's things you guys would like me to cover. But I wanted to do today is kind of just like a reality check. Like, we're not subscribing to toxic positivity. You don't have to be thriving 100% of the time, and that's normal, and that's okay. I don't, you won't. And I think understanding that and being okay with that is a much healthier way to live, to be more realistic with things than just thinking you're going to be thriving all the time. So I hope you guys resonated with this episode. I did want to put it out early on so that we kind of set the precedent that, like, we're not always thriving. We're not always going to be thriving. You know, there's going to be times we're not, and we're all human and we all feel that same way. So I love you guys so much. Connect with me on social. Let me know what you're thinking about these episodes, because I'm really having fun putting them on YouTube, putting them on Instagram and podcasts, and connecting everywhere. So I look forward to hearing from you guys, and I will catch you in the next episode. And stay tuned, because I'm sure I'm going to be posting like cute pictures and videos from our trip to Boston and Salem and Mystic at Mystic Pizza, because all my dreams are coming true. I love you guys so much.